do have a question on this, and I know it's not in your jurisdiction. I just would like to know if there's been any discussion or you've heard anything. Prior to moving to West Lebanon, I lived in Union Township, was on a septic system, and what seems so unfair, whether you had 5 or 6 people in your family or 1 or 2 people in your family, you were required to pump every 3 years. And it seems to me that it should be scaled. You know, 3 years might be fine for 5 or 6 people, but for 1 or 2 it might be 5 years. And it doesn't seem like that's taken into account. Is there any talk of revisiting the requirement for pumping?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm glad you brought that up. It actually is taken into account, but I think some of the municipalities don't want to tell you that. I can assure you that the municipalities that we do, we allow for that. And this is more of a day-to-day thing, but I'll explain the process now.
Okay.
When we do the sewage management pumpings and stuff, we register the haulers. The haulers can be, there's a list that we have, and they can be contacted to come out and pump it. But one of the options that we have, the way that the ordinances are written for sewage management, and I would think maybe Union would be the same way, there are provisions in there. The only reason you pump a septic tank is to pump out the solids and the scum. So there's provisions in all of the ordinances that we do for these municipalities. If you can provide to us some documentation that there is less than 1/3 of the solids and scum, 1/3 of the total depth is in scum and solids. If you can provide documentation to that, you can be exempt from pumping. You still have to fill out the form. So what we have in this form here is the list of haulers in Lebanon County. We just register them. The notation here with SJ, that means Sludge Judge. It's just a slang word. But there are 3/4 of the haulers can, at a cost, to the property owner, go to the site, measure the depth, and they have devices to do that, measure the depth of solids and scum, and if it is less than that 1/3 amount, they could get exempt in our municipalities.
I never knew that in all these years.
Okay, now you do.
I do. Boy, somebody's going to get mad at me for asking that